Hello, I'm Samantha, also known as Bobble Clubhouse. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is not your first time here, welcome back. Okay, so I am going to try and do better this year about sharing on this platform. I've definitely talked myself out of posting videos in the past because of fear and insecurity and imposter syndrome, but I'm working on it. That is my goal and my mission for myself in 2025. So I figured what better way to push through this fear than by doing a deep dive into some of the things that I've been too scared to post in the past. Last June, I had the incredible opportunity to teach at Shakerag Workshops during Modern Daily Knitting's Knitting Getaway. It took place at St. Andrew's Sewanee campus, and apologies if I am butchering the name and how you say that. I think I've been watching too much Parks and Recreation recently and it might be seeping in. The campus is about an hour outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Now, I do have another storytime video about a trip to Las Vegas that happened right before this, and actually less than 24 hours before this trip. But long story short, there were flight delays and suitcase chaos, and I was running on zero sleep when it was time to head to the airport to go to Nashville. Because of all of this chaos, though, I had to put the finishing touches. Are you done? Are you done? I think she's done. Because of all of that chaos, though, I had to put the finishing touches on my class video from the airport gate. And a knitter actually spotted what I was working on my screen, and we got to chatting, and that little interaction, that little slice of community just set the tone for the entire trip. When I landed, I hopped on the school bus, and yes, it was a school bus. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen, with my fellow teachers, and we took off to the campus. I had never been to Nashville, let alone this tiny town. And let me tell you, when we pulled in, it was like something out of a storybook. St. Andrews has a peaceful, tree-lined campus with rolling hills and the quiet kind of beauty that makes you exhale without realizing that you were even holding in your breath. Now let's talk about culture shock. Basically, I had gone from the neon lights of Las Vegas that never turn off to a cute little house in the woods with zero locks on the door. Could not have gotten further from the two experiences. On the first day, we got to explore our classrooms and meet our teaching assistants. My TA was this incredible young artist named Miriam. Thank you so much, Miriam, for all of your help. I could not have done it without you. And we got a campus tour from Claire Reichman, the local legend, Shakerag co-founder, and all-around amazing human being. She also happens to ride horses and make pottery and has a dog named Sammy. So she's basically, living the dream and incredible. And we got to hear a lot about the history of the town. It was amazing. Even though I had taught classes a million times before, it had been a minute since I'd done an in-person class, thanks to the panorama. So naturally, my imposter syndrome started to creep in. Would I be good enough? Would my class be fun for everyone? Would I totally embarrass myself in front of a room full of strangers? And to make things easier for my students, I wanted to avoid all of those little crochet swatches that usually just get tossed in a drawer or tossed out after you learn a stitch. So instead, I designed a few new friendship bracelet projects for everyone to learn and also have a takeaway from the class. I'm a Swiftie, and one of the things I loved about the Eras tour was the bracelet trading. It was such a simple way to build community, and I wanted to bring that same energy into my class. So for the class, we all made friendship bracelets and then swapped them with our fellow campers. Hello from my workshop. This is the day before my first class. I'm a little bit nervous, I gotta say, but it is freaking gorgeous here. We're right outside of Nashville, about 90 minutes away, and I'm gonna be teaching 3 classes with 25 students in each class. It's beginner crochet, but we're going to be making friendship bracelets, and I'm really hoping that people will make them to trade and hand out with new friends while here at the workshop. The campus is amazing. I just set up my class. I made everybody friendship bracelets. I still have to make bracelets for the 2 classes that I have on Thursday, but I'm going to work on that tonight and during my class tomorrow. Again, like I said, I'm a little bit nervous. I always get nervous with this stuff, but I feel like I've prepped as much as I possibly can, and I'm just really excited to get into it. Yeah. My first class of the week was the very next day, and even though I had been anxious going into it, it ended up being incredible. My students were kind, and because I had been so nervous, I had actually way over prepared, like truly fully over prepared for this class. I had made a full video tutorial with close-ups on my hands, a digital handout that people could follow along in case they learned by reading rather than seeing something. And I had pre-made friendship bracelets for every single student that were in the class. By the time I had finished knotting off the last friendship bracelet, my hands were so sore, but my heart was just so full. After that class, I found a quiet spot by the lake and just sat. No phone, no distractions, just silence. And I didn't realize how badly I had needed a moment like that until I got it. That night, I took a long walk back to my dorm in the darkness as the noises from the bullfrogs filled the air, and I truly didn't have a care in the world. I was so relaxed. I just remember standing in the darkness under a magnolia tree and taking in the smells and thinking about the absolute shock that would be on the face of me from 4 days ago if she had seen the hippie Samantha that was standing there in that moment. By the next morning, I had completely morphed into my final form, a middle school art class teacher. I had happily traded the glitz and the glam from my Vegas trip for socks with sandals and a poncho and a hand-woven basket that I had picked up from the market the day before. And I ended up buying a wedge of cheese and crackers from the local market. And then I sat in my room and I ate the entire thing by myself for a snack, which sounds completely gross, but hippie Samantha could not be told no. I was fully embracing this quieter life. My students that day were just as awesome as the day before, and nothing made me happier than seeing the women trade their friendship bracelets with each other and make new friends along the way and reconnect with old friends too. That night at the town hall, Anne and Kay from MDK lovingly forced me to read one of my columns out loud. I hate public speaking. It goes back to this fear and anxiety thing. I always have had that. It can be traced back to childhood when my mom would make me read my birthday cards out loud at my birthday party in front of all of my friends and family. But despite all of this, I did it anyway. And complete shocker, I actually loved it. All of this made me realize something. My anxiety and my fear can be liars. They tell you everything is terrible and scary when it might not be. It's supposed to protect you, and sometimes it does, but most of the time it ends up holding me back. I was on this high and re-evaluating my entire life when I decided to walk back to my dorm again the next night and totally enchanted by this new revelation. And then suddenly I felt uneasy. You know that feeling when something just like shifts in the energy? And then I realized what was different about this night than the night before. The frogs had stopped croaking. And it had rained that morning, and I guess that had affected the frogs. And the night before they had been so loud, but now it was just silent. And then the reality of where I was and what I was doing hit me. I was alone in the dark on a mountain with no one around and no locks on my door. And I fell right back into my old habits and my old patterns, and my fear came rushing back in, and my imagination just went wild. And I just like that, I just took off running. All of that, should I move to a small town? shifted immediately to, nope, I'm a suburban girly. I watch true crime. I'm going back to my dorm and under my blankets. And I just, like I said, I took off running back to my dorm, and all of a sudden that block of cheese from that morning hit me like a ton of bricks, and fear won that round. It's a process. It did not happen overnight. Obviously, I've got a lot of work to do. The next morning, it was time to leave, and I was genuinely so sad to go. Even though I had only been there for 4 days, it had felt like a little slice of magic, and it had definitely been a therapeutic and eye-opening experience for me. Before going home, I got the chance to visit the Modern Daily Knitting headquarters in Nashville. Their space is so beautifully designed. There's a shop in the front, and their workshop is in the back where they pack and ship orders. And they even have a table for classes with garage doors that opened up. And they did such a beautiful job with that space. And yes, I definitely caved, and I bought the supplies to make my first ever pair of socks. And you can read about that whole experience on MDK. I will link my column below. Overall, I don't think I'm quite ready to evolve into hippie Samantha just yet, but I like her a lot, and I do miss her. I think that she should visit me more often, but maybe not stay on a permanent situation. It should just be a visit. A visit would be nice. I would really love to hear from all of you in the comments below. Have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome or a fear of failure, anxiety? Let's hype each other up and share some tips and tricks for working through that. And just sometimes just knowing that you're not alone is really helpful. And the project of the video is, of course, if you want to support my patterns, I do make both knit and crochet projects. You can find my patterns on my Ravelry and on my Etsy. Seeing your projects truly makes my heart so happy. And before you go, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It really does help the channel improve, but almost more importantly for you guys, it motivates me to get you more videos quicker if I feel like I'm not just talking to myself in a room. If there's someone else on the other side, we can have a conversation. That helps me so much and motivates me. Anyway, with all of that being said, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for staying for this long in the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye! I actually think I covered that on the first try. Nailed it. Bye!
That is nice, and I love the colors and everything.
Oh, good.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, wait, I got my solstice.